Hi, this is Tommy with an I. I wanted to speak with you and give a series of videos regarding voice and vocal training for those of us that are male to female transgender. I get a lot of questions about this, and I just want to start off by saying, number one, I'm not a voice pathologist. Number two, I know my voice is not perfect, but it's a work in progress. And number three, it's really hard to let go and just relax and have fun, but the more you can relax, the better off you'll be. So I just want to start with a history of what my journey through this was, and this started over 2 years ago. I get my health care through the VA health system, and they sent me to voice pathology. My first pathologist pretty much only worried about pitch. So he gave me a bunch of exercises for pitch, and when I said, okay, pitch is neat, but most of my cis women friends have deeper voices than I do, he's like, well, I don't know what else there is. And I know there's a lot more. So I worked with him for a few months, and then he is no longer allowed to work with transgender patients. The next person I got, she was awesome. She helped me a lot more with a lot of pitch things, with mannerisms, compartmentalization, how you stand and talk to somebody, things like that. So conversationally, there are definitely differences between masculine and feminine traits, and she helped point some of those out. And then we went to my final group of pathologists. It was 2 women. One of them was just graduating from the ASU vocal pathology school, and the other one is a resident doctor there at the VA. And they helped me a lot. They gave me a bunch of exercises. They gave me a bunch of word lists to read, goals, conversation, and the instruction that they gave me is what I'm going to relay to you. So again, I'm not the expert. I'm just relaying the exercises and what the different things you can work on are. So come back for more, and we will continue this with, let's start with warm-up exercises. Hi, this is Tommy with an I, and I'm back with episode 2. I'm going to start with something that makes me very uncomfortable, so you're only going to see this once, but this is going to be a reading of the My Grandfather passage, which is a vocal tool used because it catches pretty much all of the different types of speech in our speech patterns in the English language. For this exercise, I'm going to turn off my voice and read it naturally, so you can see a baseline of what I've started with, which may already be adjusted because I have been at this for a couple of years. So this is going to hurt. The following text is about my grandfather. Please enjoy it. You wish to know all about my grandfather? Well, he is nearly 93 years old, yet he still thinks as swiftly as ever. He dresses himself in an ancient black frock coat, usually minus several buttons. A long, flowing beard clings to his chin, giving those who observe him a pronounced feeling of the utmost respect. When he speaks, his voice is just a bit cracked and quivers a trifle. Twice each day he plays skillfully and with zest upon a small organ. Except in the winter, when the snow or ice prevents, he slowly takes a short walk in the open air each day. We have often urged him to walk more and smoke less, but he always answers, "Banana oil!" Grandfather likes to be modern in his language. So, I don't ever want to do that again. We're going to start with, after that, you get a baseline. And this, my grandfather passage is something you can look for online, or I can provide a link down below, and we'll have resources for you. So the main thing with that is getting an understanding of what it is you're coming from and a natural what you grew up with, a speaking voice. And that is oftentimes very painful for a lot of us, but it is important to hear that so that you can hear your progress over time. So one of the things that we work with oral health first is hydration. Stay very hydrated. Another thing is when you have to cough, try to take a drink of water instead. Don't force it. If you can help it, don't scream or yell. All of these things irritate your vocal cords, and they will make them raw, agitated, and your voice will get deeper, usually just for a short time, but it can also, over time, do damage. So you want to be careful with that. I'm going to start with some vocal exercises that are, before you start practicing your voice, these are things that you can, I always did them on my way to work in the car. I have a rather long commute, so I would sing along with songs, and I would do different exercises to loosen up and just kind of warm up the vocal cords. So the first one, the warm-up exercise, is to work out the entire laryngeal musculature. I love the words in vocal training. So the first thing is to sustain a vowel for as long as possible, unload the larynx so that the point of constriction is not in the larynx, but in a more forward position. So in this case, it's, for me, E, and then you just hold that as long as possible. For a stretching exercise, these are pitch glides, and these are things where you can start way down in the lower throat and pull them up, and you take the pitch up as high as you can. You're going to find a place where it breaks. If you start pushing past that break, you can do damage to your vocal cords. So this is one of the reasons why it's important to have an actual trainer at some point, and not just YouTube videos, but hopefully these exercises do help. And you're going to say something like, and then hold it. And you can do this, I do this for like 10 minutes in a car, just down, up, down, and just going up and down and just kind of getting the full range on your vocal cords. And then they have a sustain of 5 pitch levels on the different notes. I don't do that, mostly because I am very note insensitive, but I can work on an M sound. Is an N sound, which probably doesn't sound different to you, but it feels different. And the goal of these sustained notes is to start feeling the vibration forward in your lips instead of down in your chest. Something to do with that also has to, a lot of people might wear a little pendant, and it's a very feminine gesture to be fiddling with your pendant while speaking, but also it allows you to feel if the vibration is coming from your chest, or when you're speaking, is the vibration coming out of here and it's smooth and you feel the vibrations more forward in your mouth. Hi, this is Tommy with an I, and for this episode we're going to be discussing a little more on increasing the habitual pitch of your speaking. So a lot of the exercises that I have are basically lists of words that kind of force your mouth to work at the goal. So in this case, they're simple words, but you can feel when you say them, they're words that kind of make you want to raise up your voice when you speak. So a lot of people use a couple of pieces of software. One of the big ones is Voice Pitch Analyzer. It's really big in the transgender community, and it's great, but one of the problems is that pitch tools are cool for singing, but not necessarily for sounding masculine or feminine. In this case, though, a lot of people I know do want to raise their register up a little bit, and in my case, I started off at the low end of neutral, and after doing a lot of these exercises, I ended at the high end of neutral, the overlap zone between the masculine and feminine voices. There's like a gender neutral zone in the middle that people can't quite identify. I sit right at the top of that usually. So one of the first things we're going to do is just read this list of words. And when you do this, think about the pitch. You've done the vocal stretching and the pitch glide. And just read them calmly, naturally, and try to raise your pitch as you speak. So we have always, aural, elite, enroll, imitate, ivory, odious, offer, under, upset, airway, alleviate, 8, entire, initial, invoke, opulent, opinion, umami, utile, aimless, allay, emotion, erode, ideal, inane, overhaul, orator, or orator, usage, and usurp. And again, these are words that they have an inflection point that really wants to draw the voice up. So use that when you're reading them out loud to help maintain in a natural way, understand how your voice rises. Another thing that happens often is in greetings, you'll find that they tend to be higher pitched because you're excited to see somebody. So in this case, I'm going to read a few greetings that were listed, and it's just something that if you're using a voice pitch analyzer or something like that, when you start your practice, read through the list and see what your pitch was. And then when you're done, read through it again and see where you sit. And if it's at a higher register or more closer to what you're looking for, it can be very helpful just to kind of get through this. So you can start with, hello, how are you? What's up? I'm Tommy. It's nice to meet you. I've heard so much about you. Where are you from? What do you do for a living? Thanks for coming. It was great meeting you. Have a good night. I'll see you later. Goodbye. And these are just some simple exercises you can do, and you'll find that after about the 10th time, you pretty much have the list memorized. And if you're driving in your car, you're walking around someplace where you're uncomfortable but people can't hear you, you can practice these anywhere that you have your own silence and headspace. And just continuing to do so, all of these exercises are going to help train you to speak more naturally and more fluidly in the future. Thanks for watching.